I'm Coach Vince, and if you're a busy dad who struggles losing the weight, but more importantly, keeping the weight off for good, I might just have the answer for you in today's training. So, I help my clients with three different strategies to make weight loss and keeping it off for good just a little bit easier. And in today's training, we're going to cover one of those three different strategies, and it's all around food value. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. So, the coaching side of things, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. So, the Dadletic mission is weight loss is a metric, not the goal. The goal is improved confidence, competence, capacity, and body composition. And I point that out because a lot of guys come to me wanting to lose weight, which I totally get, but there's a lot of work required to lose the weight. And I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. That is the work worth it to you? And if it's just merely to weigh less, you're not ready to put in the work. If your goal is to improve your confidence and your competence and your capacity and your body composition so that you can be the leader of your family, now you're ready to put in the work, and the work will be totally worth it. And this is important because at the end of the day, your goal is not to just be a smaller version of what you currently look like, AKA just weighing less. You do not want to look like just a smaller version. Also, the goal is not weight loss if we really think about it. It's about keeping it off forever and not riding the roller coaster of going up and down, which requires a long-term plan. And we have to have muscle mass in consideration with that plan. I don't necessarily need you to be He-Man or The Rock, but we do have to have muscle mass as part of the conversation if the goal is to keep weight off for good. The other thing is being a dad doesn't have an expiration date like a 30-day challenge or a 75 hard or a 6-week boot camp. Learning and implementing healthy lifestyle habits is a lifelong journey because they're always watching, meaning the kids are always watching at all of the ages. So this is just so important because at the end of the day, you're going to need to eat for the rest of your life. And if you're not learning lifestyle changes around how to eat well, how to eat healthy, how to include your favorite foods and drinks and social settings and vacations and holidays, because those happen every single year, you're just setting yourself up for disaster. So the whole program is built on, are you ready to do the work? And if your goal is so that you can be the leader of your family, you're freaking ready to do the work. And once we realize we don't just want to be a smaller version of ourselves and want to actually keep the weight off for good and want to be that role model for life, now we're ready to get rocking. So let's dive into the training. So it's all about eating more and being able to weigh less, AKA getting body fat off of us. And in order to get body fat off of us, a calorie deficit is required, which means we have to eat less food than our body is burning if we want to get rid of some fat. And the problem with being in a calorie deficit is it's easier to feel more hungry more often. So when someone is gaining weight, typically every time they get a hunger cue, they go eat. Well, when you're trying to lose weight, there's chance you'll get hunger cues, but if we're trying to be in a calorie deficit, you might have to push away that hunger cue. Well, the goal with my coaching side of things is we want to avoid any hunger cues at possible. We want to just not feel hungry or be able to delay a really long time frame in between when we eat one meal to the next. And if we can delay the feelings of hunger, the more likely we are to be successful on our fat loss journey. So I teach my clients three different methods or three different strategies around this. And one of them is called the Pro-Cal Ratio Meal Plan, which I'll link a training below to learn more about the Pro-Cal Ratio. Number two is all about high fiber and consuming high fiber and polyphenols. So this will really help with the cravings side of things. And I linked a video below for the cravings as well. You can watch some more. What we're going to dive into today is all about how to increase high volume foods. So we're in a calorie deficit. calories are at a premium, and how we spend those calories, we just want to be a little bit wiser while we're in this small time frame of trying to lose body fat. And that's what this training all today is going to be about, is just how do we get high volume foods, because your hunger is going to be tipped off from one of two things. One is physically, you just don't have enough volume in your stomach. So your stomach's going to tip you off physically that you're hungry, or it's going to be psychologically or hormonally that you're going to deal with some hunger cues or some cravings. And that's really where the high fiber and polyphenol side of things will help out with the psychological or the hormonal cravings. So we're going to tackle the physical cravings and increasing that food volume. So eat more, weigh less. So a Snicker bar, and that's the example we're going to use today, is a Snicker, but we could take a lot of just high volume food for not a lot of nutrients, like a Snickers, like a donut, like a piece of pizza, like a beer. There's nothing wrong with these foods. And I encourage all of my clients, whether they're in a fat loss phase or a maintenance phase, to include all of their favorite foods, no matter where they are in the journey. It's just, we want to make some different decisions at different times if we're getting a bunch of hunger cues. So a Snicker a Snicker will cost you 250 calories, and it weighs 53 grams from a volume perspective. A popsicle, these Outshine popsicles, which is a fruit-based or a fruit juice-based popsicle, for the same 250 calories, you can get 443 grams worth of volume. So we're talking 8 times the amount. You'd have to eat 8 Snicker bars to equal the volume that you would get from these popsicles. But by eating that amount of popsicles, the 443 grams, it's only going to cost you 250 calories. So that's from a fun food side of things. If we get into a little bit more on the healthier side or more nutrient dense side of things, if we were to eat broccoli, we'd eat 691 grams compared to just the 53. So that's 13 times the amount. So you'd have to eat 13 Snicker bars to equal the same volume that eating 250 calories worth of broccoli would give you. So you want to talk about feeling full. I mean, if you ate 13 Snickers bar, there's no doubt about it, you would feel full. So of course we want to increase the volume. So it's not saying don't eat the Snickers bar. It's not saying only eat broccoli. And it's not even saying eat that amount of broccoli. It's just merely showing you that if we can pick some higher volume foods, if you're getting a lot of hunger cues while in a calorie deficit, this is a great solution. And then a little unknown fact is strawberries have even less calorie dense than broccoli is. So you'd get 781 grams worth of strawberries for only 250 calories, and that's 15 times the amount compared to the Snickers bar. So you want to talk about food volume? Holy crap. So if we can include more fruits, more veggies, that will really help from a volume side of things. And then when we do pick snacks or treat food, if we could just be a little bit smarter or more precise with our decisions around those foods, it'll just make being in a calorie deficit that much easier. And then another example here is eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's. I don't know about you, but when I sit down to eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's, I'm going to eat the whole thing. It'll cost you about 1,250 calories. For the same almost same amount of calories, you'd have to eat 4 apples and 4 bananas and 4 oranges and 4 cups of strawberry. All of this, not just pick one of these, it's all of this. And I don't know about you, I love fruit, but I've never sat down and ate all of this, but I have certainly had many of times where I've sat down and eaten a whole pint of Ben & Jerry's. So nothing wrong with the pint of Ben & Jerry's. It's just when we're in a calorie deficit, we want to spend our calories more precisely. If you're struggling with food hunger, from physical food hunger, that's when we're going to want to switch over to more high volume foods. So I have my clients, while they're in a calorie deficit, when they are losing fat, we start to slowly include these foods. So if and when we need to continue losing fat, we're already set up for success to keep this going. So, if you're someone who just needs some more help with this, remember the pro cal ratio meal plan. If you want to learn more about that, that video is linked below. If you want to learn more about cravings, whether they be physical cravings or psychological cravings that you struggle with, I linked a video down below as well. And if you just have any questions, need some things answered, feel free to find me on social media, send me a DM. Happy to help you. And I'll also link my call booking calendar below as well. 10-15 minute chat if you want to get some questions answered or see if you need, see if I can help possibly with a game plan for you. So hopefully this helps. Now it's time to do the work.